Welcome to Torah Anytime, and this is our Parashat segment, Parashat Vayechi. Parashat in general talks about the last days of Yaakov, his death, and his life in Mitzrayim. And at the end of the parasha, we're talking about the ptira, the death of Yosef. Yaakov and his family lived in Mitzrayim and lived in Egypt for about 17 years. And after, of course, 17 years from the time of last week's parasha, when the brothers are settling down and all the people that are coming down to Mitzrayim, total about 17 years they were in Mitzrayim. And when Yaakov feels that it's time to go, he calls upon Yosef, and he swears him that he's not going to bury him in Egypt, but rather is going to bury him in Eretz Israel. After that, he gives the sons of Yosef, Menashe and Ephraim, he gives them a special bracha, and he established at that point that they're going to be a part of the tribes of Israel, just like Reuven and Shimon. Even though that Menashe was born before Ephraim, he gives him a reverse the order, and he indicates with that he's going to be greater than his than his brother. And therefore, the question is asked. In a way, Yaakov Avinu should have learned from preferring one child over the others. He should have learned not to do so-called again, and therefore why did he prefer Menashe over Ephraim? Rav Hirsch says on that by Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and I'm sure there are other grandchildren there, but by Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, the education of the children took place mainly in Israel, the land of Israel. And Eretz Israel, it's called Eretz HaKodesh, is the most appropriate place for education, for proper education for the kids, and especially Jewish kids, and mainly Jewish kids. The Gemara even says that Avira shel Eretz Israel machkim, that even the air in Israel makes you wiser. Just by being there and breathing the air makes you wiser. So, to a certain aspect, again, a certain aspect, today things are a little changed, but we can measure that. Certain aspect, it's a little easier in Israel, in the land of Israel, to be a Jew. And right now in exile in Egypt, and later on, as we have it throughout the whole entire world, the children are going to face a reality which might cause them to abandon Judaism for many other temptations that are around them. And therefore the parents must wrestle with that and struggle with that and always deal with this danger, that reality that society has around their children, and to emphasize the beautiful values of Judaism. Here the famous quote comes that most people, or let's say previous generation, knew in Israel is, and it goes like this: the question is not if your children would stay Jewish, but rather whether your grandchildren would stay Jewish. And I remember this one time, the first time I heard that, I was walking with Rabbi Ben Chaim on Friday night, and right next to, we were debating certain things and we were talking about, and then it was the first time that I heard that quote. He says, listen, you could see, a person could see his children and so on, but the question is, your grandchildren is going to stay here. Temptation is great. That's why here, outside of Israel, you have to do extra and emphasize extra on Jewish education and Jewish value because of the great danger. Because of the danger to simply, you'll disappear, you will assimilate. It's very easy. So you have to take extra precautions to do that, and that would start by, first of all, enhancing the sensation of pride in the child. That is, you have to be proud to be a Jew, and you have to be very thankful for the fact that you have the Jew. Mainly it would start with you, that you will have to be proud yourself before you preach it to your son. That is a good place to start. But you have to be very, very careful. Again, I'm not dealing with the situation of education or what is happening right now in the state of Israel. We're talking about overall throughout the generation what happened outside of Israel, and that is the great danger. We have to be careful. And so therefore, what exactly happens from the tribes of Ephraim and Menashe, regardless to all the great chances, the low chances that they have, they didn't have such great odds because they were born into a reality that was quite deteriorated and like Egypt of old. Still, they was able to stay loyal to the values of the Torah and to mitzvot, and to serve by that as an example to all grandchildren from that point on that live outside of Israel. Menashe and Ephraim, or Ephraim and Menashe, are unique by the fact that they are an example to all grandchildren. And in a way, we are grandchildren as well. So therefore, that you need to learn. If they did it, we could do it as well. So that's a tremendous point in this week's parasha that we need to, that I wanted to address. So then after that, of course, Yaakov collects all his children, and gives them a blessing, gives them a bracha, and he's quite critical on Reuven and Shimon, and this whole entire thing, and on and on and on. And he commands his children to bury them in Ma'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron. Hebron was always Jewish. We bought it, our father bought it, and it was always Jewish. Don't let anybody else fool you. And he passes on from the world at the age of 147 years old. The Egyptians mummified Yaakov Avinu, and they mourn him. Now you should know, according to the Mefarshim, the different types of mummification. The one is internal, when they take all the internal organs and they put whatever they put there, and that's what they used to do it. And it's chas v'shalom to think that Yaakov Avinu or Yosef would allow something like this to happen. Therefore, the mummification was external, just to preserve his body on the journey to Eretz Israel. And this journey was a very long journey. Yosef gets his permission to go, and they go through a long journey through the Dead Sea, and they enter Eretz Israel from around Yericho is the regular path. And they bury him in Ma'arat HaMachpelah, and they go back to Mitzrayim. According to the Masorah, you should know, this parasha is very unique. All the parashiyot usually start, you know what Ptuchot and Stumot are, the parasha ends up, starts where there is a gap, either in the middle or in the end, at the bottom, but it starts like this. This parasha starts smack in the middle of another line of the Torah without any gap in between. Midrash Rabbah talks about it, give few excuses. One of the excuses is that it's because of the tsar of Yaakov, so they didn't want to leave space, so it's like through sorrow, so there's no great simcha in a new parasha, and so on. Rabbeinu Bechaye brings different flavors, so there are two different flavors, and he says that right now, the galut, with the death of Yaakov, the galut actually started. The oppression of Israel really started, and also because Yaakov wanted to tell them about the future of Venistamim, and it became opaque to him, it became unrevealed to him, so about what was going to happen at the end of the time, because all the fathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is the third of all the patriarch, so therefore whatever he was about to tell them would refer to the third galut in which we are in, and therefore Kadosh Baruch Hu did not want him to reveal to him, and he closed it, and he was not able to tell them exactly what happened. And the Zohar Kadosh says, why does it say Yaakov chai b'Mitzrayim, Vayechi Yaakov b'Mitzrayim? Because it's called Parashat Vayechi. And it says that when he saw that all his sons are with him, and they're getting a loan from each other, and we didn't even get to the part of the brothers, that's why I want to go, but this is just an introduction. There are very interesting points about that. I mean, these are just points, and if you find something interesting, with all due respect, please go in, don't hesitate, open the books, feel free, it's your Torah as much as it's mine, as much as anybody else. I'm just giving you points of reference. If you find something, please go and become an expert on that particular topic. So the Zohar says that he saw that all his brothers are getting along, and therefore his spirit was coming, was able to learn Torah. And everybody that learns Torah is considered to be chai, is considered to be alive. So Yaakov, but then the question is, the Gemara says, Ne'emar al Yaakov Avinu ki hu lo met. In Masechet Ta'anit, it says Yaakov Avinu did not die. So it says that this Rabbi Yitzchak Omer b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, Yaakov Avinu lo met. And Rav Nachman says, what are you talking about? How is it possible? All the people who mourning for nothing. Well, I mean, if he didn't die, so what they were mourning, what they did all the eulogies to him and so on and so forth. What's going on here? So Rabbi Yitzchak says, answer him back, V'ata al tira avdi Yaakov ve'al tichat Israel ve'et zarecha. Al tira avdi Yaakov. Don't be afraid, my slave Yaakov, and to be a slave of God, to be called that is a tremendous compliment. Ve'al tichat Israel. The double language of Yaakov and Israel represents something else. And it says ve'et zarecha. Ma zaro b'chaim afu b'chaim. As long as your zera, your children are alive, you are considered to be alive. And I told you this many times. A person is really not considered to be dead until you forgot about that person. Once the person is in you, even though he departed from this world, he still is alive in you, in your mind. You think about him, and your mind is very vivid. For example, if I would think right now about my parents in Israel, in my mind I'm there, right? In my mind I'm going to Carolina. I'm there with them. I'm there with my parents. I can think about the streets of Yerushalayim or the alleys of Tzfat, and in my mind I'm right there. So the same thing to a person who passed from this world. When I have a thought about somebody that passed away, he lives in my mind. Only when you forgot about this person, therefore he's dead. Therefore, Rabotai, you have to know, there are people, while they are alive, they are considered to be dead. Those who are all forgotten, that we simply forgot and put them somewhere in a drawer, or we put them somewhere in a nursing home, and we just wait for to get the call from the lawyer that we get their inheritance and so on and so forth. These are dead people. They're simply, you forgot about them. Unfortunately. So we take this opportunity, we record it, and I really would like people to go to Jewish nursing home and to simply visit people that somebody forgot. Just make nice. Just go. Talk to someone. Find somebody. The stories that these people will tell you are amazing. What you can get from an old person, the stories they will tell you, but you will never find it in a book, and I guarantee you that. They will open a door to you, or a window, to a world that is long gone, that otherwise you would never know about. And it doesn't make a difference if this person is from Poland or from Romania or from Turkey or from Uzbekistan or from whatever. It is a part of your heritage as Jews. And there are Jews in Poland, there are Jews that were in Morocco and who knows where, and it's a part of you, and it's your obligation to know. Besides the fact that it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do, to be mesamech people like this. So please, do that. Go, say hello to someone. Even if you later on just pick up the phone and says hello, good Shabbos, It's a wonderful thing. Don't leave these people alone. Don't let them be dead while they're alive. You can't do that. You can't leave them alone. So, all right. I want to skip a little bit because I don't want to get too into that. I don't want people to get depressed. Anyway, so therefore, what happens is Yaakov dies. All of a sudden, the brothers start to feel a little nervous. That they get a little worried that after the death of the father, the brother Yosef is going to seek revenge. And because they sold him, and therefore they go in and they tell him a nice story that Yaakov, their father, had commanded them that to tell him that he has to make up with them. Leit payes. We have to be friends again. And Yosef, in a way, tells them, guys, tranquilo, don't worry. Atem chashavtem alai ra'a. You thought bad about me. Elohim chashava letova. And God thought it was good, and so on and so forth. That's very, very weird, but we'll see exactly what happened. Yosef continued to live, in Mitzrayim, and before his death, he tells the Am Yisrael, commands Am Yisrael, that Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to come, he's going to take you out of here, and I swear you here, you're going to promise me you're going to pick my bones out of here, and you're going to bury me in Eretz Yisrael. Yosef died when he was 110 years old. He was mummified, put in a casket, and it was kept in Egypt until then. Yosef later on was buried in Shechem. But what is happening here, it's quite interesting. And this is really what I want to focus on in this week's parasha. It is in a way a behavioral pattern that repeats itself over and over again. And what is this pattern? The brothers don't say the truth. Yosef, based on their reaction, starts crying. And the question is, what exactly is happening here? What exactly is happening here? And there are a few explanations to that phenomena. After the death of Yaakov, let's go back a little bit. After the death of Yaakov and all this pastoral, kumbaya of everybody getting along together in Egypt, the old wound is reopened. It kind of scarred a little bit, but they keep opening. They kind of dug in, and the brothers are petrified that Yosef, even though he forgave them, did not do so only for his father. They want to make nice to his father, so his father will be okay with them, or not to cause him sorrow. They didn't want to make his father feel bad. And now that the father is dead, how should I say it? He's going to make out of them shish kebab, or at least mummify them while they're alive. I'm going to show you now who's king. It's good to be the king. And after all, we are talking about the most powerful man in the ancient world, second to Paro only, and only because Paro was Paro. But really, the strongest man is Yosef. And what did we do to him? We sold him. We put him in a pit. We almost killed him. Holy smokes. That's going to be bad. There's no protection anymore. And from panic, they go in and they tell him the story. What commanded. According to some Mefarshim, Yaakov did not know or was not aware at all to what happened. He wasn't aware of this whole story about selling and they want to kill him and this whole thing. Something like don't ask, don't tell. He didn't ask us. He didn't ask us. We're not going to tell him. Very simple. It's none of our business, He didn't ask, well, what do I have to tell him? So therefore, the question needs to be asked, why would the brothers would have such a havamina? Why they would think that Yosef is going to do something so harsh or something so bad? Why would he do this at all? That is the question. And the answer is very simple. Because most likely, that's what they would have done. Most likely, that's what would have done. Chazal tells us, "Eina adam choshev ela mihirurei libo." You only think what comes out of you, out of your heart. Everything that I think about the other person, everything that I, quote unquote, get him dirty by, gossip upon him, I really talk about myself. Now you might understand, therefore, the concept, the danger of Lashon Hara. And we said, Ein Adam Mesim Atzmo Rasha. A person is not allowed to make himself to look bad, to look like a wicked person. So when you are saying Lashon Hara to somebody else, you're not talking about him, you're talking about yourself. And you're not allowed to do so. It's an amazing concept. And sometimes, inside of us, we have this critic, this judge, who likes to criticize everybody. He has an opinion on everybody. How people drive in this country, how people drive in that country. Oh, Israelis are like this. Or Americans are like that. Oh, blah, 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 and this whole entire thing. You have something to say about everyone. You have something to say about everything. And I'm sure everybody has one or two people like this in his life that they're notoriously criticized. Everything, nothing is ever good, and they always have to say. And when they have nothing to say, they would say something about someone, and it looks kind of bad. Unfortunately, we do it many times. We criticize anyone who comes in front of us, and mainly our spouses. We do it to our spouses quite often. Since they are the closest one to us, they get the most criticism that we can find because they are there and present all the time. It's very easy to do that. But a person needs to understand that overall, those people who stand in front of you are no more as a mirror or soul mirror, spiritual mirror, or a mirror to your own soul that comes and reflects back to you whatever it is that you need to fix. And we spoke about it last time in the big shiur that we had. But this is really what it is. And sometimes I might not be aware of those traits in me or the qualities in me in which I need to fix. I'm not aware that I have it. So how do you know to fix them? You pay attention to what comes out of your mouth. And the mirror comes and shows it to me. And that's what happened here. I think that this person is a revengeful person. It's only because that is me. I do the same thing. So they think that Yosef is going to seek revenge just because they would do it. So what does Yosef do? Yosef does something very weird. He cries. He cries like a kid. As they say, cries like a baby. He cries again. This guy doesn't stop crying. So the question is, what's the matter with you? Why are you crying about everything? You're such a second to Paro. Why are you crying? Man, what's the matter with you? And the reason is because he's crying because it's very difficult for him to accept to what stage, to what level his brothers reached. He knows that he did not tell his father about what happened. And since he did not tell him, and his father never asked him about it, mistama, it's very evident that his brothers did not tell him either. And now that they're standing in front of him, they're simply lying. And they're lying out in the open. I mean, straight into him, and they're lying. And that's the worst thing you could do. And that's the worst thing you could do with your kids. When you come to educate your kid, it's just something happens. He broke something at home, broke a vase, I don't know, he kicked the ball, broke the light. One of those things, Never punish him. Always tell him, listen, tell me the truth. If you're going to tell me the truth, I would not do anything to you. You're going to come, you're going to help me clean it, we're going to clean it together, we pretend that nothing happened. Just tell me the truth. You did it, or you didn't do it. At the beginning, he might have some resistance because he doesn't believe you. You haven't built any trust with your child. And you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to go back. And after a while, come back again, and when you're ready, tell me the truth. I promise you, trust me, I would not punish you for anything. We'll get down on our knees, we'll clean it up, and I'll give you a high five because you told me the truth. You might be upset that your vase broke, that your Aunt Min sent it to you from Portland, Oregon. But what's more important, that vase or the lesson that your son can trust you to say the truth? You're teaching him an unbelievable lesson to his life. Don't be afraid of saying the truth. And that is priceless. If you have a Ming vase from, I don't know, a vase from the Ming dynasty, rare porcelain, priceless, still does not come close to the price of teaching your son to say the truth. And you have to stay loyal to it in terms of don't ever punish him. And if next time something happens, he will test you. He will tell you, I broke it. And you have to bite your cheek, to bite your tongue, to bite your foot. But you cannot be angry. He says, okay, that's the truth. No problem. Okay, they told me the truth. He can't believe that they're lying to him. At what level? And he's crying. And they're lying to him just to prevent themselves to be victims of his revenge. And then he's crying also. He says, maybe I haven't done enough to show them that I'm a different person. I'm not this kind of a person. Why would my brothers lie to me? Why would my brothers say that? Maybe the problem is with me. Maybe I didn't show them that I'm not arrogant as they thought I always was. Maybe the problem is with me. I failed. And he's crying. And therefore he says to them, Atachad Elokim ani? Am I under God? Am I a substitute to God? Atem chashavtem alay lera'a. You thought something bad about me. Elohim chashava letova. Hashem made something good out of it. In other words, Yosef is telling them, it doesn't make a difference. And this is a tremendous lesson. It doesn't make a difference what you had in mind. At the end, something good came out of it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu used you for this purpose. And the purpose was to send me to Mitzrayim. I was supposed to go to Mitzrayim. And by doing so, I'll be able to save my family. In other words, what could I claim against you? You were shlichim, you were messengers of God, and you were His messengers. Could I harm the messengers of God? You were shlichem mitzvah. The foundation, the source of the words of Yosef comes from the fact that the person who is a believer person, has emunah in his life, that believes in hashgacha pratit, in divine supervision of him, could not seek revenge at the same time on the messengers who did that. And it does not make a difference, again, what was their intent. At the end, it was all good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make the cheshbon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when they come up to Shamayim, He's going to make the cheshbon with them. And He's going to decide if they did the right thing, if they didn't do the right thing, they executed the will in the right way, or they did not execute His will in whichever way He wanted. The choice was given to you. How you going to do that, that's already something else. But you no more than a vessel of Hashem. And this is the lesson to all of us, that Yosef is teaching not only them, he's teaching us. He says, I have nothing against you. I don't have any cheshbon with you. I don't have anything. I have nothing against you. Why? Because if I will start going into this calculation, what you have done to me, and so on and so forth, that is going to bring me into a frequency of seeking revenge, of settling things down. I would not be able to forgive. I would not be able to move on. And by not being able to forgive and move on, I'm allowing the bed to exist. Because when I forgive and I move on, I don't let the bed any grasp on reality. Mimele, in any case, is batel. It's diminished. It diminished from this world. Because I say it's not important. But when I don't do that, eventually at the end, being revengeful, taking the law to your hands, will make me bad. I would allow the bad to exist in me. And in the end, I suffer. And I don't want to suffer. That bad would bubble into me, and it's going to be horrendous. That's why, Rabotai, whatever somebody does to you, you might not like it. Find what good in it and move on with your life. Don't deal with it. When somebody does something bad to you in your life and you continue to obsess on it, you will never be able to separate from this person as well. He would be attached to you like a tick to a dog. Do you want a person like this to be attached to you all your life? The answer is no. I would hope not. So simply forgive. Move on. Try to make the best out of it. Don't let the bad penetrate into you. Let go and let God. Shabbat Shalom.